What's up, everybody? Well, before we get into the review, we want to tell you just about the Threaded conference that's coming up on March the 1st. Make sure you go and check out all the details. Go to wearethreaded.org/conference. And now let's get to the review.
What's up, everybody? Colored commentary here, colorful conversations by colorful people about Christianity, culture, and race. We are here, Marcus Lloyd and Antoine Malone.
What is
on behalf
up?
of Threaded. What's up, Antoine? Good to see you, brother.
We out here. After last night, watching the show, watching
That's right.
The big show, the Black Church. The Black Church.
That's right.
PBS.
This is our story. This is our song. Black Church. This is our story. This is our song. PBS. So we just got we watched it for 2 nights, had a little watch party, and we just want to kind of give our thoughts and review on the program itself, right?
First of all, shout out to everybody that came through on the watch party. It's our first watch party. And as you can tell, if you're watching this video, this is a very young YouTube channel. We just now started the YouTube channel. So we're excited to get more and more content to people like you. So make sure you like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and do all the things to make sure that you get all the things. Do all the things to get all the things.
Do all the things to get all the things. Because there's lots of things coming to the channel. We've been doing. This is a new channel, but it's not a new ministry. It's not a new podcast.
That's correct. There's a whole library of information that we're just waiting to upload, and then we're gonna do new stuff. So
that's right.
It's gonna be fun.
So that's part of the new stuff we got even here, doing this review on the PBS special, The Black Church. This is our story. This is our song. So lots of different elements here. Antoine, let's start with, was it entertaining, right? What did you think? Were you entertained by the special?
Yeah, I was entertained. I think PBS does a good job with documentaries, I think. And so for those of you who are unaware, it's a 2-part series that is a 4-hour total program. So 2 hours in 2 different parts. Although I think on the DVD, it'll probably break it up into 4 pieces. Yeah, because they kind of had a break in between each hour.
Let's just be clear. It's probably not going to be a DVD as much as just they go put it out.
I don't know. It's PBS. Yo, I bet on PBS.
No,
I bet on PBS there's a DVD. I bet you can go there now. Not even Blu-ray. Okay. You can go there now. Right. And purchase a DVD because they want you to anyway. They want to make that donation dollar. But no, I feel like it should be streaming. Yeah, I'm with you.
It is all those. I own a couple of them, but I own them because I downloaded them. You know what I mean? I don't have a DVD. I don't know. Last time I used my DVD.
We had to go look. So I would go look right now, but I ain't gonna look.
That's all right. That's all right. So was it entertaining is the question.
Was it entertaining? It was good. I just wanted to lay it out. It was a 4-hour show, and chronicling the story of the Black church in America, pretty much covering from the moment we landed here and settled, or I say landed, I guess we were brought here. The moment we showed up to today, and in what ways has religion played in the Black community from that moment forward, and then certainly the formation of the Black church and what was the reason for its being created and all the ways that it's played out. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a tall task. It's a tall task to try to cover so much content, and so I think if they were meaning for it to be a exhaustive deal, then it wasn't that. But it was an introduction, which was cool. But it was entertaining. Lots of cool clips. Love the music, right? That was going on. If you grew up in Black church, man, you're gonna get all of the nostalgic feels from listening to the music, especially if you haven't heard it in a long time, which I don't hear it as often as I used to. So it was good for me to hear that.
Yeah, that's true. And I think there's even, I think from an entertainment standpoint, we had lots of folks on the watch party, people who grew up in Black church, people who didn't grow up in Black church. And I think, when you talk about the music, there's obviously a nostalgia, I think that Black people have who grew up in the church. But I think the music itself is so loved, and it's such a purely, if I would say, American music, right? It's such pure American music, and it's the root of so much American music, blues and jazz and you know what I mean? Even some of the R&B and hip hop and those things. I think people love and are entertained by it because they didn't just get a sort of, old-fashioned version of some of the songs that we recognize, but even some nouveau, renditions of it, or renditions that you just never heard of it before. So the soundtrack was dope. It was like the thing you always talk about it. So
apparently, like Spotify has one, so maybe we'll put it in.
I was listening to it earlier.
We'll link it in. We'll link it. We'll link the Spotify one in the description, or maybe it'll pop up on the screen here. We'll see. But we'll make sure you guys can go and listen to it. If those who watched it and need that, we'll make sure we get that to you.
And I'm thinking from an entertainment, documentaries they're kind of in their own, genre category, so even talking and saying the term entertaining, it seems like a weird thing to talk about with a documentary, right? But I think what I could say is I enjoyed the documentary. It kept my attention. I think they had lots of different clips. They had graphics. They had drawings. They had interviews. Well produced. It looked clean. So that was helpful. And again, the music, the sound was really clean. They had a lot of entertainers that you knew. You had your John Legend came in there. Oprah was on there.
John Legend was one of the producers.
One of the producers of it, right? So you had some good folks that came through. I think it moved so well that you were entertained. You didn't feel like you were stuck on a spot for a long time, which can be a good or a bad, whether depending on what you wanted to get out of the documentary. But from an entertainment standpoint, I enjoyed it.
I mean, I think you could say it wasn't boring. I think 2 hours was good, but I don't think I was particularly bored in any spot. But also, I'm very interested in the content, which I guess that's how it is with documentaries.
Sure.
Like, you're not watching it if you're not halfway interested anyway.
Exactly.
If you're watching it, then I think you'll be entertained and you're going to learn some stuff you didn't know and meet some people you didn't know and the impact of them. And so, which kind of takes us to the information piece. But scale of 1 through 5 on entertainment, like where would you put that? 5 being just like, man, must see.
Must see. I give it a 4. I give it a 4 on there.
That's about where I am too, from an entertainment point of view.
Yeah.
For a documentary.
For a documentary, again, it's hard to think even entertainment wise for a documentary.
You're like, PBS? Are they going to get an Oscar for it? No Oscars showing up.
It's not my rom-coms. I like my rom-coms, so I don't know.
He said the rom-com. That boy.
So from the from the information standard, I think I think if you had never been in the Black church, if you had been just kind of sitting outside of it and watching it, I think you got a lot out of that. I think just even watching people sort of comment during the watch party, like, I never knew that. I never heard that before. I didn't, those kinds of things. I think there was a lot of eye-opening, sort of jaw-dropping types of things that I think if people are listening to it and watching this, they're going to walk away with this sense of, I've got a pretty good idea of the growth of the Black church. I've got a good idea of the personality, at least of a general, perspective of the Black church, ranging from back to slavery even to now, and are able to even to track the different movements of where the Black church changed, when it was created, when it changed, how it participated politically, how it participated in society, and how it continues to participate now, and some of the things that needs to happen for it to continue to grow and be effective. So I thought it was extremely informative that way. What about you?
Yeah, I thought it tracked the evolution really well. I think like you said, if you come to it with having, actually, for a lot of my white brothers and sisters who may have a caricature idea of what Black church is and why it is and what the meanings of everything is, I think this will be very informative. I think you're going to find even in this presentation, a diverse, is diverse the right word? An eclectic amount of like reasons for why and what the Black church is doing, and why it exists, what it stands for. And like, it's going to be more than just standing up and shouting and being expressive, which is maybe what many of my white brothers and sisters think. It's a different form and a different style. Like, there's some more import. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so, but for others, some people who never explored that's going to be new to them. I think it'll be good I'll be good for that. For someone who like wants to go beyond the introduction, you're going to get an introduction for the most part. But that doesn't mean you won't learn anything, because there was, I would not say that I'm, I would say I'm very familiar with the history of the Black church, and I still learned quite a bit while watching it. You're gonna, if you want to get reading material, you'll get some books in there. You'll get some people to look up, black men and women to look up and try to figure out their stories. Like there's plenty for someone who wants to go deeper to grab it, put a hook in it, and then go and research it elsewhere to go deeper in it. It didn't cover, it's so funny because I wanted it to cover like other things, but then I was thinking again last night. I was like, well, it is just trying to take the Black church line. So like I was complaining a little bit last night. Like I guess I wanted to see more of the Black Panther and hear more about how things were affected by that. But in reality, the focus really does need to stay on what the Black church is affecting. There may have been some stuff that happened outside of Black church that happened as a not rebellious, but as a reflection of it. But the show pretty much stays on topic for the most part, and is really only talking about the things that the Black church actually affected heavily. And so you do get other topics like women and even the homosexual LGBT community comes in quite a bit in the second half of it, where
Right.
What does the Black church have to do and say, and how does that intersect? And those things were interesting as well.
And I think kind of taking on the Black church line, I think they dealt in many ways, not just with the Black church, but really just Black theology, Black religion, sort of kind of track through history. So that's really helpful too for people. They talk through just different things coming from Caribbean religious backgrounds, Vodou, and they talked about Islam, the Nation of Islam. They didn't hit the Black Israelites. I was really surprised that they didn't hit that as sort of a line of how that works out and how that corresponded with. So the church in and of itself, I think it's easy for us to kind of go, it's just going to be dealing, excuse me, with Christianity and how it maneuvered through the Black community. But it really kind of grabs on to different things. You're going to hear about Malcolm X, right, as well as you go through, and kind of Nation of Islam, as I mentioned before. And so, I think it did expand. And that's why I would almost go, in some ways, it's more than just an introduction to, a Black church experience, where I think people would think about Black church, but just like at the heart and soul of the religious thought processes of the Black community are really examined here really well, and show how how things from the outside affected it as well. So how hip hop affected it, right, and how other movements sort of affected it, Black Lives Matter, and how that works into it, right? So very informative. I think people will walk away feeling like they got a good.
I think you're gonna definitely wrestle with some stuff. We're gonna do a show, one of our podcast shows. We're gonna do on the Black church, not on this documentary, but just on the whole concept. And I'm sure we've got some ideas that will spawn out of this show.
different things that came from it.
Yeah, that we're going to be discussing. So be on the lookout for that. On the podcast app of your choice, Spotify,
of your choice,
or Apple Podcasts, or Google Podcasts, whatever. Radio FM. But yeah, so we'll be talking about some of that stuff more. There was much in there in the information section that I agree with, didn't agree with, didn't like, and so that's good for conversation. So yeah, out of 5, I would say, again, same thing here, 4. Although it's close to give it a 5 if you've never, it's a solid intro. I keep saying introduction, but it's a solid introduction overview to the Black church, the history of the quote unquote Black church in America. Yeah, it's a solid. So I'm gonna stay 4 because it's hard for me to give 5.
I'm gonna jump the broom, if you will, and I'm gonna go ahead and give them 5.
All right.
I'm gonna give it 5 on there. I really liked it. I think people will walk away with lots of good information as well. Again, it's PBS. They do a good job. Henry Louis Gates as the host. One thing I would say, just kind of on a side, I feel like I love Henry Louis Gates. I think he's been doing a really good job. But I noticed, just as I was watching him, as a person who does documentaries and hosts things myself, I noticed that I feel like he's, I don't know, I feel like he's I wonder if he had a stroke at some point or whatever. I felt like in some of the areas where it was just him, that he was struggling a little bit kind of in his articulation. So I just kind of, I don't know, I just kind of worried about him a little bit, but you know, he's got that voice that's always kind of maneuvering through these conversations. And so you're kind of ready to hear it.
Yeah.
And there were some good contributors that came in, as we mentioned before, John Legend, you know, Oprah, but she had sort of the religious contributors as well, you know, Shirley Caesar, TD Jakes, William Barber, Al Sharpton, Michael Eric Dyson.
BB Winans came through.
BB Winans jumped in for a hot second. So I thought it was good to see those folks as well. So I really like that. I thought it was a great showing of the Black culture and the Black church. So I don't know what. So you know, what kind of would you recommend it? It's, I guess, kind of the next question. Unless there's other things we can talk about.
Nah. I think I would, creativity wise. We talked about it a little bit in the entertainment, but yeah, I thought it was creatively presented for sure. Lots of different elements. They're visually interesting. So
yeah, they create some really good graphics, some really good graphics in there. And again, the music comes through. It's not overbearing, but it plays a nice little soundtrack, gives you something to float on top of. You know, there's footage in there, there's stuff, you know, we hadn't seen, and they just do a really good job, I think, of finding and creating things that help set the stage and build on the story as well. So even they did kind of almost like bookends in telling the story in some ways by using Mother Emanuel Church, which I thought was a helpful thing to kind of knit it all together.
Though. Crazy that
I know, crazy that's,
you know,
I know,
but what we recommended. Okay, so would I recommend it? Yes, I would recommend it with this one, with this asterisk. With the asterisk of, hey, you're probably going to hear some things that challenge you, and it's going to be some things that you agree with or disagree with, and that's fine. I don't think we're going to look at the documentary as, if you're going to do it as the source of, you're going to take everything that's there, all the ideas that's there, and just going to run with them. I wouldn't do that, but I would. It is a worthy introduction to the conversation, and a worthy addition to the conversation, and even a kind of a conversation starter for a lot of the episodes. So if you got a group of people, I could see where you would take the first hour and watch it, and then talk to your group, and y'all rap about that, and then the second hour rap about that. I think each hour has something in it that will be good for a group to discuss. So I would recommend it. I think it's a solid show. I'm glad they made it.
Yeah, I would recommend it as well. In fact, I think I already have recommended it today to somebody.
And part of the way, approved.
Yes, we do it. And part of what I would recommend on it too is, you know, for those of you who are trying to build these, you know, relationships cross-culturally, particularly in the church areas, church leaders trying to figure out, okay, how do I connect with Black churches in the community? This type of documentary really gives you, again, an insight into the nature and the mentality of, you know, potentially the Black church that you're going to talk to. And so it just creates an opportunity for you to come into a conversation with a person who's at a Black church with a sense of understanding of the community. And so you won't feel as nervous in the conversation. You won't feel like, oh, I'm going to accidentally step on some toes here, because you will have gotten a good, you know, introduction that will help you do that. So I definitely recommend it there. And I recommend it to, you know, those who were like me, who got transplanted out of the Black community very young and put into a predominantly white community, and had just sort of this ancillary tangential relationship with the Black church throughout their lives, kind of going back and forth. I think I'd recommend it just to kind of help understand what you were experiencing going back and forth between white church and Black church, and why those two churches were so different, and help you understand what you were experiencing in each one of those churches. I think this documentary really helps put that together. So definitely would recommend it. Same thing as you, I'd watch it with a rake, right? Like, I'm not taking everything. I'm gonna rake in some of this stuff. Some stuff be like, I'm gonna leave that right there.
That's exactly right. And for those of us who are carrying the torch forward, it defines our work a little bit internally as well, as a church. So, like, man, this is where we still have work to do. But yeah, so that's the review for the Black church. This is our story. This is our song. Go check it out on pbs.org. I'm sure they have it streaming. If they don't have it yet, then they'll have it streaming soon. You can go get the DVD. Oh, I'm just playing. I don't know if the DVD's over there. You can go get the DVD. And hey, go ahead and subscribe to this channel for more reviews. And stay tuned for our Black Church podcast is coming up soon. Yeah, we're going to kind of get into the nitty gritties of it. Some of the places we agree, some places we disagree, and some of the significances of the Black church in general. So if you're looking for more like that, then be ready. Go to coloredcommentary.com or wherever you consume podcast information.
That's right. That's good. Hey, thanks for joining us for this review from Colored Commentary. Again, we are colorful conversations by colorful people about Christianity, culture, and race. And we love these kind of conversations because it colors our way of thinking about the world, which is why we are called Colored Commentary. So, man, as you go out there, just stay colored.